What's up, y'all? It's your boy Varkees Charles, man. And you read the title correctly. I finally got rid of my 15-year corn problem. For starters, it's taken a lot of courage and bravery for me to even have the courage to tell my story. I've seen plenty of content creators throughout social media platforms to tell their story, and I give them the utmost respect. But it was actually finally time to tell my story once I finally grasped the root of the problem and finally tell myself that enough is enough. So let's start from the beginning. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was introduced to adult content at the tender age of 10 years old. I was in fifth grade, and a friend of mine, God rest his soul, happened to pull it up on a computer in the middle of class and have a bunch of young boys sitting here watching sexual things happen on a screen. And during the time I'm seeing that and I'm exposed to it, that's my first time seeing a female's or a woman's body part. That's my first time seeing a man and woman do these type of things. So my brain couldn't really register what was going on. I knew it was bad. I knew it could probably get me in trouble, but it was just like a whole new experience for me that eventually gained into an interest. Okay, and as time goes on, my mom ended up giving me a phone. And during this time, internet was starting to be on the phones. Wasn't quite too many touchscreens out there, but I remember I had my own little phone, and I remember having the ability to get on the internet and search things for myself as a young child. Seeing it and just nearly hypnotized and so fascinated what was going on. And as a year or two go by, I gained the ability to have an arousal. You know what I'm saying? And once I, finally recognized how it made me feel, every time that I was home alone, 9 times out of 10, I would go somewhere and just binge it until my parents or something finally come home. So that happened between ages 10 and all through middle school. By the time middle school came around, I knew what to do during those times as I was watching it, and I would, do the act of pleasuring myself and going by my business. High school comes around. This is like peak me. I know what it is. Everyone in school talks about it. Now I'm at the point in my life I'm having high school girlfriends. I'm going through the sexual education classes, so I know what's being taking place in the content that I'm watching. And it's gotten to the point where during high school, if I couldn't sleep, I would watch it, do what I gotta do, and it would help me go to sleep. Okay. And then with my high school girlfriends, I would still watch it while being in a relationship with them. And during this time, it didn't really have a negative effect on my brain. I just thought it was normal. I used to do that quite frequently before I, met up with my girlfriend at the time, because all I wanted to do during these times was to, you know, get some action. That was all I thought about. Of course, I cared about these women at the time, but that was like the main goal. That was the main goal because all my friends around me, people were losing their virginity, things of that nature. So I wanted to, the piece of the cake too. I want to experience that. So I go through life, finally lose my virginity, thinking that I learned what to do due to the fact that I watched the adult content, thinking that was real. But in all actuality, it wasn't. It wasn't real at all. So I go on 4 years of high school. And then once I started to enter my 20s, or like right before I get to college, like it started to have a negative effect on my brain. When I binge watch adult content and when I do the act of self pleasure myself, I start to feel the negative symptoms such as having anxiety, being socially awkward, laziness. I don't want to get up and do anything. A lot of mood swings. Like the moment I release, all my energy is gone. Like I don't want to talk. I don't want to be bothered. Leave me alone. And I can't really go about my life and my day doing that because it's not normal. Okay. And even during this time, this when I finally got into a long-term committed relationship and still watching adult content. I'm like 10 plus years in it now. and it still have an effect on me if I didn't get any action that night from my significant other, or whether she's not there or whatever the case may be. If she wasn't home, like, I would watch it then. And again, the symptoms will come at me and I will feel very, very terrible. Then it finally got to a point where I needed to do some research on why things are the way they are when I do that. Where does it stem from? How do I stop it? Because I don't want to do this anymore. So I did some research and I came across NoFap. And for those who don't know what NoFap is, you're pretty much abstaining from watching adult content. You're also abstaining from self-pleasuring yourself. And I would do that from time to time. I'll probably go a couple weeks in, then I'll relapse. I'll go a couple weeks in, relapse. Then I'll relapse again, and I'll go down this downward spiral. And then I feel bad about myself each and every time that I do it. And I'll probably just give up and just accept the fact, like, okay, it's embedded in me. There's nothing I can do. This is my life. There's nothing I can do. It hasn't really had a real negative effect on me in my intimate life. I never experienced the symptoms of erectile dysfunction, pre-ejaculation. Like, I didn't experience the major stuff. I wasn't like locking myself in a room and disconnected from society, turning down parties. Just being real antisocial. I didn't experience that level of addiction. I always felt like I can control it because I was still getting attention from women. I was still have a good time with my friends. Like, I know when to put it down, but when I strike boredom or when something in my life causes me to be depressed, I would watch it just to escape reality. It even got to the point where I was going through my spiritual change and getting closer to God and promising to God, literally crying on my knees, begging God to please get this demon out of me. And I was promising to God that I wouldn't do it again, and I would let God down, and I would do it again, and I feel bad about myself. I would repent, and it was rough. It was rough, and nobody knew this. Nobody knew this, and it was stuff I was battling internally for a long, long time. For a long time. But the moment I knew I had to stop doing it is when I came across an article via TikTok where a man was pretty much gooning so much. And for those who don't know what gooning is you pretty much it's a slang for pretty much binging adult content. Whether you're probably edging, if you're edging, you're pretty much not releasing yourself. You're pretty much self-pleasuring yourself to the point of no release, or you actually release to yourself till you find something that would just get you off. I saw the article of this man gooning, and he was gooning for so long he forgot his daughter was in the car, and I believe they were in Arizona. I have to fact check that, but wherever they were, I just know it was super hot. He forgot his daughter was in the car, and she ended up being unalived from the heat. And when the police came to his door, he was devastated. And I saw the footage of the body cam of, he knew this is all his fault. This could have been prevented had he just got control of his lust, and his daughter will be here to this day. And I believe he ended up unaliving himself because he couldn't live with the damage that he caused to himself and his family and his wife and things of that nature. When I seen that article, I knew for a fact, like, okay, I have to get this together because there's no way in the world I'm going to bring a child into this world. I'm going to get married. And what kind of man will I be if I can't control my sexual impulses, my lust, okay? I'm from keeping myself from self-pleasuring myself. What kind of man will I be? What kind of example will I be for my kids if I can't do those things? And when I seen that article, it was so devastating to me, and it touched me in a way where I knew, like, this has to stop. This has to stop completely. Not to mention the fact, I'm 25 now. I turn 26 next month at the time of this recording. And, it just gets to a point where you're just too old to be doing this. You're too old. You're too old, bro. It's time to give it up, bro. It's time. And just to be clear, I'm not fully healed from the experience I've had within the last 15 years. Okay, 15 years, there's a lot of personal, internal construction that I have to do to actually be fully healed. I can honestly say that I finally got to the root, or to the point where just enough is enough, bro. It's got to stop, okay? It's got to stop. And when you feel like the lust is taking over, you have to flee from it. There's nothing in this world that you can't defeat besides lust. You would never beat lust. There's nothing you can't beat lust. You have to flee from it. Whenever you all, men and women, are in a time where you're bored or you're feeling depressed and you try to reach for, that easy access, that quick hit of dopamine, you have to keep yourself busy, man. You can't fall into that. And fellas, you gotta unfollow these IG women, and just stay away from things that's gonna trigger you into actually relapsing. And I could do a whole video on that, of my strategy of how I overcame adult content situation. But this goes to say, like, whoever's dealing with this out there in the world, this isn't you. Your story is far from finished. This isn't permanent. You can defeat this. Okay, you can stop this. It's going to take some work. It's not going to be a smooth road. You're going to still perhaps relapse along the way. But once you tap into that internal work and fully understand where everything stems from and what's triggering you, you're going to keep doing it. So this goes to say, whoever's dealing with it out there, you're not alone. And I made this video for anybody that's dealing with it to this day and don't have anybody to talk to. And, they've been dealing with it for so long. But now you guys know. I mean, I'm human. I'm human, bro. Now you guys know about that about me. And it took me years to actually sit up here and make a video about this, because I didn't want to do it. But I just felt like God was telling me I could be a vessel to thousands or even millions of people out there that's dealing with the same thing. We might have all encountered it differently, but we all, at some point, at least with my generation, more so on the men too, it's a scary and it's a dark, lonely road. Okay, but it's not over. If you guys like this video, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Again, y'all, it took a lot of bravery, a lot of courage to make this video. I appreciate the like, I appreciate the love, the comment, share it. If you're dealing with this, please, you're not alone. And as always, if they can do it, so can you. Achieving greatness awaits. I'm out.